Hello and welcome to this webinar, Committing to Total Wellness and Holistic Safety. This event is brought to you by Engineering News Record and sponsored by Safety Week. Hi, I'm Scott Seltz, publisher of ENR, and your today's moderator, and thank you for joining us. Being safe means paying attention to both mind and body. It is about more than just wearing hard hats and safety glasses. It means recognizing how important mental health really is to everyone's overall safety. There is help available to combat suicide, depression, distractions, and more. Joining us today, we have Michael E. McKelvey, President and Chief Executive Officer at Gilbane Building Company, and Ken Aldridge, Chairman of the Board at Aldridge. Joining his company in 2014, Michael spent his entire career in the architecture and construction industry, bringing a broad-based background in both domestic and international markets and vertical and horizontal construction. He holds a Bachelor of Science in Environmental Design from Oklahoma University and a Bachelor of Architecture from Louisiana Tech University. Ken has been an industry professional since 1973, and under his leadership, the company's experienced extraordinary growth and expanded its services, territories, and markets. He earned his bachelor's degree from the University of Wisconsin and Madison School of Business. Now, before we begin the presentation today, please enjoy this brief instructional video on how to use your webinar console.
Welcome to this webinar. Before we begin the presentation, I want to provide you with a few housekeeping items. On your screen, you will see a taskbar with icons. Each icon is assigned to a particular element of today's webinar. Click on the person icon to learn more about today's speakers. Throughout the presentation, you can network with others or submit questions to the speakers in the Q&A and chat box next to the slides. Download resources from the cloud icon. After the webinar is over, please take our survey to tell us how we did. Today's event is being recorded and archived and will be available within 24 hours. For on-demand questions or comments, send us an email by clicking Need Help? Email us. If you experience any technical issues today, please refresh your browser by hitting F5 for PC or Command R for Mac. And now I'm excited to turn it over to today's moderator.
Don't forget to submit your questions during the presentation, and later our presenters will address as many as possible. Today's event is being recorded and archived on enr.com/webinars, so you can share this presentation with your colleagues. And now I'm going to turn it over to today's presenter, Michael E. McKelvey and Ken Aldridge. Gentlemen.
Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it. Ken and I are really excited to be here today and to talk about Safety Week 2021. We're going to talk about the Safety Week as it's been for many years. We'll talk about our theme for 2021, talk a little bit about the groups that put this all together, and then I'll be talking specifically about some of the things that we do at Gilbane Building Company for Safety Week, and Ken will talk about the same at Aldridge Electric. And then we'll close out with some planning resources that you can all use during Safety Week 2021. Safety Week, for me, is always a week of recommitment. It's a time, a revival, when industry and everyone in our company can rededicate themselves to safe behavior. It's a strengthening event. It's a cultural event. It's a fun, exciting event. It's something that we all look forward to. So together, we can be stronger. Oftentimes, you've heard many people say we're all lifeguards in the swimming pool. That's really true. When it comes to safety and construction, everybody has to look out for each other. And we really have that ultimate goal together, which is to bring everyone home at the end of the day the same way they went to work. So that's really our goal. Ken, you want to talk a little bit about the history?
Yeah, the beginning of Safety Week was in 2014 when we had a large group of contractors, global firms came together and decided it was time to go further to get the message out on safety. It was CISI, the Construction Industry Safety Initiative Group, and the Incident and Injury Free Group, IIF, which I'm a member of and have been for since 2014. And they joined forces and tried to help the industry with these resources that you'll learn about today in this webcast. Today we've got 70 sponsors that are funding this effort, and you'll see their names as we go through here. So the goals are, and I'll just talk about for our firm, to really thank our people for supporting Safety Week and really recognize their efforts and to help them out a little bit.
You know, in the construction industry, there's 7 million plus employees for 680,000 different companies. $1.3 million of structures are built every year. And if you can imagine how many people hours that is, how many humans are out working in construction, that's a tremendous amount of work. Yet, from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, over the last 20 plus years, you can see that the total recordable injury rate has been on a steady decline. We've often seen those pictures in industry where people are up on steel, not being tied off, or other dangerous behavioral, historic actions that people have taken. Through this collective vision of trying to keep everyone safer across our industry, it is paying dividends. You can see that the injury rate is declining. So in comparison, that rate in 2000 was 8.3. In 2019, and we don't have all the stats for 2020 yet, it was 2.8. So how do we keep improving? Because if we've improved this much over the last 20 years, we know that we can continue. Well, if we have corporate leadership, we have tone at the top, we have a commitment from companies from top, and then we have a commitment from everyone in the organization watching out for each other, but also watching out for themselves. But there is a statistic that we should mention that's not on these slides. And I've got the latest one right now, and this ties into our theme for this year. According to the CDC, construction has the highest rate, one of the highest rates of suicide across all of the industries. It's 4 times higher than the national average for suicide, and it's 5 times more impactful than all the fatalities in construction combined. So people who are in construction suffer from an inordinate amount of mental stress that translates into suicide. The reasons for this, sure, there's a tough guy culture in construction. Oftentimes people are fearless and thrill-seeking, but really family separation, isolation, lots of travel, not having a sense of place in a very, very difficult business where you're always moving around and doing something different, all contribute to suicide. So those are some of the things that factored in to this year in particular, especially in light of what we've all been going through with the COVID pandemic over the last year, where all of these issues have really been magnified. Ken?
Yeah, so I'll talk a little bit about the 2 organizations here that have started this, and they're really, both groups are a bunch of caring individuals that are trying to share best practices, and I'd say that strongly. That's what we do. We get together and meet for 2 days and just talk about what's working, what isn't working, and what our concerns are, what burning questions do we have, and it's pretty amazing. My story starts really in 2014. We lost one of our teammates in a drilled shaft, and it was on my watch that we had the fatality. And I told my people, I said, you know, I don't really want to be in this business if we can't keep our people safe. You know, I'd rather exit than do this. And we got serious about it and really found out that part of our problem was we didn't own safety at the very top level. So we totally changed our organization and engaged with a culture of care and concern, and that's the Incident and Injury Free Group. We've come a long way, and really have I think got our people on board and made a difference not only in our company but in the industry as a whole. So this is who is really driving this. The executive group that drives Safety Week comes from these 2 organizations, and we'll continue to support it. Next.
Ken, that's right. And one of the things that I think both of these organizations share is the fact that we all believe that having zero incidents is possible. A lot of times throughout the years, people thought, well, just accidents have to happen. It's just going to happen. But we all believe that actually you can get to zero. So for this year, and every year, Safety Week has a theme. And the theme is usually pertinent to what's going on in the construction world. And as we talked about with the pandemic and suicide and other issues, this year's theme is committed to holistic safety. So mark your calendars. Safety Week is May 3rd through the 7th. That's not too far away, just a few weeks away. And the theme is further emphasized with be present, be focused, and be safe. Surely we've all seen instances where someone has had an incident because they weren't thinking of what was going on. Construction is physically demanding, we all know that, but it's mentally demanding as well. The choices and the focus that we make every day has a real consequence around us. It means paying attention to both your mind and your body and recognizing how pivotal that mental health really can be to everyone's overall safety. So that's one of the reasons why we picked holistic safety. It brings more awareness to the importance of being both physically and mentally present on the job. Every time we've seen some inexplicable incident where someone who ties off continually hundreds of times a day, and then one moment they don't tie off. Why is that? It's because they mentally checked out for a few minutes. So that importance of being really there is extremely important. I'll talk a little bit about what we do at Gilbane during Safety Week. As I said, it's a time of celebration. It's a time of renewal. At our company, and we're a family-owned company, we believe everyone in the company, all of our employees are part of our family. And so the actions that we take along with our coworkers and all of the subcontractor labor and everyone, our teammates, partners, everyone that are on our job sites, if we look out for each other just like we would a family member, just like we do at home or in the office, then we have a greater chance of returning everyone home safety at night. Our Gilbane Cares culture, and Gilbane Cares is one of our core values within Gilbane. Again, as Ken said, it's an incident and injury-free mindset. And we know we're on a journey. I talk sometimes about safety being that guy on the Ed Sullivan Show that's spinning all the different plates, and he's running around keeping all those plates spinning. We can never quit focusing on keeping people safe. It is a journey. We don't just arrive. We're going to always keep trying to make it better and better and better. And then we build on the culture of caring for people. It's not about the statistics. There's a much bigger issue. And so really, can we excite everybody about making every day a Safety Week day at Gilbane? How do we do this? We stress it all across our upper management. We have a Safety Week committee that works really hard to plan out our Safety Week activities. We talk about it months in advance, and we talk about it afterwards as well. And we hold ourselves accountable to getting ready for Safety Week. We use the resources that you'll hear about on constructionsafetyweek.com. We plan out our contact for us, and for your companies, you can do it different ways. But for us, we have specific activities at every job site, specific celebrations across the country. I've been to job sites during Safety Week where we've got vendors there that are talking about different levels of hand production. We've got showing different types of vests, reflective clothing, different hard hats. All kinds of things can get an emphasis. And usually, the site gets fed during Safety Week, which is always a good draw when there's a free lunch. So you can start small, you can go big, but the impact is tremendous. And we build relationships through these Safety Week activities. Everyone looks forward to it. And we bring in everyone, the clients, we bring in the suppliers, we bring in the folks that might just be on the job site periodically. We try to get them there during that week. And then, as I said, we participate all the job sites and all of our offices across the country and even across the world outside the United States all celebrate Safety Week at the same time. Mention the training, the webinars, hands-on training, and then This time, we learned from last year, we can do a lot of this virtually as well. We can have virtual site celebrations because with the pandemic, not everyone can travel the way we would normally do it. Ken, you want to talk about Safety Week at Aldridge?
Yeah, I'd love to, Mike. Thank you. And a lot of what we do is, similar to what's happening at Gilbane. What amazes me when I go to the job sites for Safety Week, and all the executives and owners, we all travel, and we all get out for the week and participate in what's going on. And it's really a morning event for hour and a half every day, where we start with the stretch and flex first, and then we get into the discussion. But crew leaders are always the facilitators. We certainly help them out and explain how to do it. But some of these guys are really natural and get the craft talking. And I say craft because that's mostly the focus, at least up until the last couple of years, where we've gotten office involved more. But it's really about keeping the craft safe. And so it's really a day to not only a little instruction, but get everybody talking and to get feedback. And that's how we learn about what's really working out there, and where we can improve to help these guys be safe and get home safe every night. We talk a lot about families and what's going on at home, and how do we keep people safe, because you get home at night and there's things around the house that are dangerous. So it's a pretty wide-ranging group of topics. We have a list of daily toolbox talks that are on the website that can guide us through some of this. We tend to customize that and focus especially on our demonstration day that we have on each of our job sites. We let the craft really design what they want to hear on demonstration day, whether it's trench safety or a rescue, or how to tie off safely, or how to operate aerial lifts properly. Whatever works for that group is what we try to give them. So to make it useful, we want them to be excited about this and to keep coming back for more. So the slide there, the photo on the right is there's a drilled shaft, and this was demonstration day where they were learning how to do a rescue out of drilled shaft, and the vendor came in and showed us what kind of tools to use, how to use them, and everybody participates in this. So it's really been something that's migrated towards something that they really look forward to every year, and especially, and I'll talk again about mental health, because last year in 2020 Safety Week, we did one day of a mental health awareness and try to get people talking, and we're just amazed at how in the groups and we have smaller job sites, maybe 10, 15 people on a job site, but how they really started to open up, talk about mental health and depression and suicide. This strong silent group of individuals actually had a lot to say. So in October, we decided to host a mental health week, very similar to Safety Week style, but modeled after what a good friend of ours, Ross Myers, has done at his company for several years. And they were kind enough to share their process. And so we did 5 days of mental health awareness company-wide, and rolled out some employee assistance devices, app that allows employees and families to have access to 24-hour a day, round-the-clock mental health help. Talk to somebody any time of the day about whatever issues you've got. So we found out that was really well received, and I was really happy when the executive group at Safety Week decided this year to continue and make it a holistic week of mental health awareness and help. So we've taken our mission. If you'd go to that next slide. So this was the first virtual visit that we had at Aldridge last September at Safety Week. We got our office people involved and had a virtual site visit at a project in DeKalb, Illinois. It's actually a Facebook data center. And we're able to have the superintendent, project manager walk the site, and had hundreds of people really engaged in this, and they had a live Q&A at the site, and it really was successful. And finally, we found a really great way to engage everybody at our company. And this year, we're going to do 3 virtual site visits again, and get the best participation we can get. So the next slide. Yeah, so this is a little history of what's been going on at our organization. And, in 2014, we really started our culture of care and concern and learn how to look at safety as more on leading indicators than lagging indicators, and get people on board to believe that they would never do an unsafe act. So we've come a long way, but our national expansion has really caused a little drift in our organization. And this year we've bolted on a new program, Making Safe Decisions. And we're just launching that now, but it's really going to help us have more training, and look at brain-centered hazards, recognizing exposures, and build up capacity. And what I mean by build up capacity is if we have enough redundancies, we can fail safely, meaning we can make a mistake on a job and not hurt somebody, which is where we want to be. So it's all about no hurts and bringing people home safe, but we find that it's part of that journey. That is, when you think you're doing well, it's time to double down and try to do more. So resources, and on the website, on the Construction Safety Week website, you'll see a lot of tools in there, and what we try to do is show people what we're doing, the various companies that are involved, and how we can help. Give resources to people. So if you're a first timer on Safety Week, you've got a whole litany of tools that you can use. Everything from communication, how you communicate to your people, how you lead it. Of course, we have a Safety Week committee that nationally plans this, but then internally at our company, we meet every 2 weeks on this for probably the last 5 months prior to plan it out. So when Safety Week hits, we hit the ground running, and we really people can see that it was organized and very thoughtfully done. You'll see ways to plan project site events, office visits, and how to spread the word out, how to do the social media. We have a store, we have paraphernalia, T-shirts, hats, and the like, and you'll see logos and in the 2021 seal. You'll see virtual backgrounds that you can use. Job site banners are available for job. We have job site banners on every single job as we go through this. Social media, a toolkit is there, and media relations. We obviously here with ENR doing our media work this week. So in the toolbox talks, maybe that's one of the more valuable things on there, how you can go through all 5 days and see how a lot of people are talking to the craft and getting engaged, getting everybody talking. And then there's the home, activities for the family, contests, coloring books, all sorts of great tools in there. So please go on the website and see what kind of information is there, and hopefully it's going to really spark some interest and help you get started. If it's your first timer in Safety Week, or whether it's your fifth time, I think you'll see some really useful information there.
Thanks, Ken. You know, we believe safety is not a rule, it's a value. I first heard that term safety is a value many years ago. I was at an industry event for a key customer of ours, and what they said was, often we say safety is our first priority, but then they said priorities can change, but your values never change. So if safety is your number one value, then that commitment is everlasting. It's eternal. And that's a belief that I think all of us share. When we make safe choices, lives end up being saved and protected. In order to ensure holistic safety, we've got to both create a physically and mental environment that every aspect of our well-being can play a part in the safe culture. Now, you know, we focused on Safety Week 2021 with some key focuses on each and every day of Safety Week. We found actually in Safety Week last year, where we were really focusing on different activities per day. A lot of our companies do that anyway, but we put out those daily themes last year and they were well received, and we got some positive feedback that you all liked that approach. So for this year, Monday, May 3rd is going to be our Be Present, Be Focused themed day. So you'll see those tools that Ken talked about on constructionsafetyweek.com. There'll be focuses on what you can actually pull down for events around being present and being focused on day one. Day two is really looking at the health of mind and the health of body, that whole wellness aspect of safety. A lot of us have wellness programs in our companies. We try to make sure that people are exercising and that they're not smoking, they're doing all the right things for themselves. But that also goes to health of mind as well. So you'll see focused information for day two, that Tuesday, on health of mind and health of body. Day three, which will be Wednesday, is really a relentless commitment to sticking to the fundamentals of safe behavior. That's the blocking and tackling, using the right PPE, pre-task planning, making sure that everything is thought through and that there's a plan for what's there. I heard someone say on our monthly safety call today, plan the work and then work the plan. That's what we're talking about on Wednesday, day three. Be relentless with the fundamentals. And then day four, on Thursday, we're going to be focusing on safe at work, but also safe at home. Someone once told me that if you calculate the injuries that we all have at home, in our home life with our family, it would be a terrible, horrendous recordable injury rate. If you look at the number of hours that you're at home and you did the math formulaically, we need to make sure that that mantle of safety that we put on when we go to the job site or we go to work, that sometimes we take off when we get home. Actually, it can be more important to stay safe when you're at home with your family as well, because our family members take the lead from us. You know, are we going to go out with a weed eater and not put on our safety glasses and put on our gloves? Well, we probably all have done that in appropriately before, but we've got to maintain that commitment at home and at work. And then day five's focus is really a thank you. Everyone across the United States has been going to job sites during the pandemic. You've been frontline workers. You've been showing up. You've been doing the difficult work, covering when your spouse or your partner can't leave the house or they can't go into their work. The kids can't go to school. It's been a very, very tremendous year of sacrifice. And so Friday is a day to thank you for all that you do. Thank you for watching out for each other. Thank you for taking care of each other. So this year, again, the theme for Safety Week is holistic safety. And we hope that you will take it on with your companies. You'll use the website, use those resources, because there's no proprietary here. We're all sharing the best practices and the best information across all of the companies that are supporters of Safety Week. And we hope that you can really get a meaningful time out of it. Scott, we're more than happy to take some questions.
Great. Thank you, Mike and Ken. That was a great presentation. Before we have you answer some questions that have been submitted by our audience, I want to remind our audience that we'd love their feedback in our webinar survey to help improve our programs, and that's available on your screen now, or it can be filled out at the conclusion of the webinar. Actually, I had a couple questions that occurred to me during your presentation, which is, does a company have to be a member of Safety Week to actually celebrate Safety Week and participate?
That's a great question, Scott. You know, the fact of the matter is you don't have to be a quote official member of Safety Week. Now, we have a lot of companies, the 70 companies that Ken talked about, that like to officially link themselves with Construction Safety Week each year by becoming a member of Construction Safety Week. But really, that's not important. What's important is that small contractors, small subcontractors, small suppliers, teammates, everyone, try to take that week. And even if you can't do it that week, if you do it the week before, it doesn't matter. The point is to just take a week to re-energize, refocus, and rededicate everyone in the company to keeping everyone safe. So membership is not a big deal.
Great, thank you. And another question, I mean, I'm also a leader of my organization, and I was curious on how do you help employees that are reaching out for mental health support?
Yeah, you know, I think most companies have employee assistance programs which have resources to help people. We've gone the extra step, and we have a program called Talkspace that is an app, and it's available to all our employees and their families, and it's very simple to sign up and find yourself online a therapist to help 24 hours a day when you have any issues regarding depression, anxiety, suicide, financial problems, COVID, family pressures, maybe from all the travel that's going on, whatever it is. We encourage people to use it. It's free, it's anonymous, and we're finding that it's really helped for not only employees, but even their families. I mean, there's issues with even, teen depression these days. So it's really been helpful, and it's very affordable and something I would recommend.
Great, thanks, Ken. A viewer asked, and I think this is a real good question, and I think you both could speak from your perspectives. Has and how has COVID put additional mental strain on construction workers?
Mike, you start on that.
I would say, and then Ken could. Yeah, I'll jump in. We have job sites around Gilbane where, of course, due to COVID, everyone's wearing a face covering. Everyone is washing their hands more frequently. Hand washing stations set up across the site. We have dedicated folks that are going around sanitizing handrails, washing the restroom facilities, making sure that everything is as clean as it possibly can be. We have one-way traffic so that people aren't crossing within close proximity of each other. And then we go on, and we've had devices, technology that we utilize. Proximity Trace is a device that we've used that will beep if you're within 6 feet of another worker. You put all these things together, it causes a lot of stress for sure, because there's more rules and more regulations that someone has to follow. But at the same time, it does give you a little bit of comfort to know that the way that the job site is organized, that it's the best practice it can be at keeping everyone safe from the COVID-19 virus. I think part of getting through this, and Ken, I'm happy to hear what you say also, part of this for us is giving those continual resources to our employees and being really flexible with our employees, considering that they have stresses more so at home probably than at the job site, even in terms of what they're dealing with. Do they have kids that are in school only on Mondays and Tuesdays, and then they're at home the rest of the week? And does their partner or spouse have to trade off? And do we have to be flexible with those employees? So I think one of the ways we've dealt with that added stress is to continue to provide as much flexibility to the workforce as we can. Ironically for us, we've had one of the safest overall years in Gilbane's history in the last several years during 2020. 2020. And I have to think that continual effort of, do I have my mask over my nose? Have I washed my hands? Am I cognizant of where other people are from a proximity perspective, has actually caused the job site to be safer.
Yeah, I would agree with a lot of that. And as I recall early on, almost a year ago when the pandemic started, how we were all scrambling for ways to find masks and find sanitizing liquids and all that. And to the point where our executives were spending much more time in discussions and planning. And so it was really stressful, not only running a business, but how do we keep people safe? And should I put people out there, are they going to get sick? And families saying, can you bring some of this protective equipment home? We don't have any at home. So our workers are not only trying to be safe on the job site, but worried about their families and how are they going to help their families be safe? And will I bring this home to my family? So the amount of stress that they were going through was significant. And we were all really working hard, jumping through hoops, trying to help where we could. But the work paid off. I mean, we had very, very few positive cases in our workforce over the last year, and I think we're all believe we're in the home stretch. But I think our industry, I got to say, really responded. Because we were essential and we never slowed down, but I think our industry really responded, and we should, congratulate ourselves for the amount of work we did, how sincere we were in keeping people safe.
Good. This viewer looks at the other side of safety and asks, with the focus on COVID safety, has keeping a focus on the classic slip, trip, and fall sorts of risks been a challenge?
I don't think so. I think we try hard never to lose focus on that. I think it just added to the amount of focus in our organization. It was just one more area of protection that we needed, but I don't think we ever lost sight of it. I don't know, Mike, what you saw.
I agree. I think it's easy to maybe think that with so much talk about the pandemic, but for sure, striking an object, slipping, tripping, those make up the preponderance of the injuries that we still have. And so that focus on site cleanliness, housekeeping, keeping the site clear of tripping hazards is paramount. So, but I think it's a good point that the viewer brings up. We need to make sure that we don't overemphasize one area of concern to the detriment of the others, because we are still having the basic blocking and tackling issues that we always must make sure we protect people from.
I would just go a little further and say that going forward, that our biggest injuries at Aldridge are stored energy line of fire type injuries, and when you think about it, that's the way you avoid those is being totally aware of your surroundings. And I think the idea of mental health in our tagline, be present, be focused, be safe, is about your surroundings and being aware. And I think it's really timely that we're getting into this. Thank you.
Another viewer asks, could you explain the accolades and recognition, in parentheses buy-in, clients recognize and acknowledge? I know at SLAC, the client completely was on board. Please provide another specific example of clients appreciating Safety Week.
For us at Gilbane, we've had the fortune of building for a lot of clients that really, really care about the well-being of not only our people and their people, but really people that come to the site, deliver things and that kind of nature. So we always try to bring them into the Safety Week activities the best that we can. It's a shot in the arm for everyone in the job site when they see senior folks from the client side standing there with them, celebrating safety along with everyone, all the craft workers on the job site as well. So it's really important that to achieve the best outcome from a safe behavior perspective, that the clients are supportive of everything that we're doing. Certainly, we've all had customers in the past that have challenged, why are you putting this extra safety person on the job site? Why are you slowing down the deliveries? Why are you making me, the client, wear a hard hat and safety shoes, safety boots, and I'm the client, I don't have to do this. We don't see as much of that anymore. And so bringing the client into those celebrations with us, they oftentimes, in my experience, will come up with great suggestions. They will help contribute to the cost of a safety celebration. They will put it in a much bigger venue and get much more exposure to it than we would have otherwise. And so our experience has been positive with our customers.
You know, and I would, I'm glad you brought that up, because I would encourage our viewers to think about inviting customers to your Safety Week activities. And we've found over the years that, especially in the energy business, that they really appreciate coming in to see what we're doing, what we're talking about. And it's really boots on the ground, hands-on discussion. And I think it really shows them the care and concern that we have when we spend that amount of time for a week trying to keep everybody safe. So I think most of our customers really engage in it, and I would encourage you to invite them and create more awareness.
Thanks, Ken. A viewer asks, did face masks hinder communication in the field? And I would add, if you found that problem on your job sites, what did you do to try to improve communication through face masks?
We found that more of the complaints were because our workers all wear safety glasses. We're trying to keep the fogging away from the glasses when the masks were used. So we use a lot of different methods, but communication really hasn't been a problem, and of course in a lot of our cases our workers are more distanced, and the communication wasn't such an issue. I don't know what you found, Michael.
Well, I mean, you go around, and I've had folks tell me, hey, my glasses are fogging up, and sometimes this is the way you wear the face covering, and whether you really use the nose correctly. There's things that we can share that you can put on your glasses. I mean, I wear glasses, and I wear a cast helmet with a screen that comes down, a shield that comes down over my glasses. But the products that keep your glasses from fogging help out. In terms of the speech recognition, certainly if you're talking through a face covering, it can be a little bit more difficult to hear the enunciation of another person. And so I haven't heard that as a direct complaint, but I know that people have to make sure that when they speak to other people, when everyone are 6 feet apart with face coverings on, that they're really speaking clearly and enunciating properly, so there's no misunderstanding. I mean, that can be an issue. But hopefully, as we continue to see the vaccination roll out, that as we get into some next phase of the pandemic, that hopefully as we get into the months to come, we can see some change in that face covering PPE requirement. I'm hopeful anyway.
I remind myself that I have to use, when I'm using a mask, that I have to use my outdoor voice ×2. So another viewer asks, when can we expect daily topics to be posted to the Safety Week website?
I'm sorry, what was the posted what to the website?
When can we expect the daily topics to be posted to the Safety Week website?
I know that we'll be posting the Toolbox Talks topics here in the next few days. They've been in final review, and so I think the information on the dailies should be within the next week or so as well.
And we have another question from a viewer. Is Construction Safety Week always the first week of May?
Well, it was not the first week of May last year. So a little bit back to the point about the question about the clients. Typically during Safety Week, our committee gets together and we find one or two major construction programs, typically that involve many, many contractors, many, many workers, a large client that's spread out and a long multi-year program, we'll pick that program and we'll have a major safety celebration there. The renting of a flatbed trailer and a big stage, and there'll be thousands of people in that celebration. That's fairly been typical of Safety Week in a handful of places around the country. Last year, due to the pandemic, and as you realize, the first week of May last year was right in the middle of the shutdown just about everywhere. So we deferred as a committee. We decided to push off Safety Week till later in the year last year, thinking that we might still be able to have those face-to-face meetings in a large way that we typically had loved to have. Well, we delayed Safety Week 3 or 4 months last year. We did not still have the safety to have those large gatherings. But we're back to the original schedule, which is always the first week of May. And this year, we're having, as we described, events at all of your companies, at all of your job sites that are job site specific. But in terms of bringing hundreds and thousands of people into a big gathering, it's still prohibitive against that due to the pandemic in most places around the country. So you're not seeing those big mega celebrations like we've had in the past. And hopefully we can get back to some of those into 2022. But it's typically the first week of May.
Thank you. A viewer asks, I guess from your point of view and your experience in the last year or so, with the fogging of safety glasses, did this create more slips, trips, and falls as they couldn't see properly, or maybe slow down work?
I don't know what the answer really is. It probably in some cases slowed it down until they figured out, the safe way to keep their vision good. I think we'll all slow down and fix it if our glasses are fogging. But I really think they got in front of that pretty quickly, and I certainly haven't heard any complaints as of late.
I think we have one last question that came in from a viewer, and the question is, has any thought been given to scheduling Construction Safety Week in sync with other national safety initiatives sponsored by OSHA?
We do spend quite a bit of time when we are in the planning stages for Safety Week in terms of looking at other organizations when they have their weeks. And in some cases, other organizations will align their Safety Week celebration with ours, and so there is some discussion and a lot of pre-planning around the date with respect to what others are doing. But really, what's important is that everyone celebrates safety and has a focus on safety every year. And so the companies that are a part of our organization, the 70 plus companies, and then there's even a similar number of affiliations and organizations that are supportive of Safety Week. ENR is one of them that continues to give it a lot of attention, which is really tremendous. All of us share the same vision, which is just really put an emphasis on it is possible to be incident and injury free. It is possible to bring everyone home at night the same way they went in. And this year, our focus on being present, being focused, being safe, the holistic aspect is extremely important, and I think we all share in that.
Thank you. And that looks like all the questions that we've received from our viewers. So please join me in thanking Michael McKelvey and Ken Eldridge for their presentations and our sponsor, Safety Week. If you do have additional questions or comments, please don't hesitate to click the email us button on the console, and we'll make sure that those get sent to Michael and Ken and they can respond to you directly. Also, please visit ENR.com for the archive of this presentation so you can share it with your colleagues, as well as information on our upcoming events. Make sure to tune in tomorrow for our next webinar, Construction Data Forecast for 2021, which is airing tomorrow, March 18th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We hope you found this webinar to be a good investment of your time. Thank you and have a great day.
Thank you.